Part 1. The Uninvited Guest. I placed a beautiful green jade hairpin on a cold white bed today. It destroyed two rich women completely. I did not use a gun or a knife. I only used quiet patience. I only said one word. My name is Michael. I am a successful business CEO. I wear expensive suits and smile politely. My wife Lily is a very rich, beautiful woman. She only cares about expensive clothes and luxury cars. She does not love me at all. Lily's mother, Eleanor, is 42 years old. She is a widow, but she looks incredibly young and beautiful. One day, Eleanor moved into our massive house. She said she wanted to help us and build a closer family. Eleanor acted like a sweet, caring mother. But I knew the dark truth. Eleanor did not come to our house because of love. She came because she was hiding. Eleanor lost a massive amount of money in a bad secret business deal. Dangerous people wanted their money back. She was completely desperate. She needed her rich son-in-law to save her. Lily knew about her mother's terrible secret debt. But my beautiful wife did not offer to help. She did not give her mother a single dollar. Lily had a cold, cruel heart. Instead, Lily forced her mother to move in. She made Eleanor work like a high-class maid in our large home. She wanted to humiliate her own mother. The dark game was already beginning. I watched them closely every single day. Lily drank sweet wine and shouted at her mother. Eleanor cleaned the expensive floors with quiet anger in her eyes. I just sat on the soft sofa and smiled. I was the perfect, quiet husband. I went to work, made a lot of money, and came home. I never argued with my cruel wife. I always spoke gently to my mother-in-law. Eleanor felt humiliated by her daughter. She felt lonely and totally scared of her heavy debts. She needed a strong man to protect her. She started to look at me differently. She saw a rich, polite man who treated her with deep respect. I opened doors for her. I complimented her cooking. I made her feel like a beautiful woman, not a cheap servant. Lily did not notice the strange new energy in her own house. She was too busy looking at her own beautiful face in the mirror. She thought she was the smart queen. She did not know I was building a careful, silent trap. The jade hairpin in my pocket felt cold and heavy. The old ghost of the past was waiting patiently for blood. Part 2. The Crack and the Connection. The quiet house felt incredibly heavy. Lily was always cold and distant. She spent her days at the luxury gym or expensive shopping malls. She left me alone with her mother, Eleanor. Eleanor and I spent many quiet evenings together. We drank hot tea in the beautiful dark garden. We played long games of chess. We talked about classic books, art, and complex business ideas. Eleanor was very smart and sharp. She finally found someone who truly understood her deep mind. I listened to her sad stories with a gentle, warm smile. I was the perfect sympathetic friend. One rainy night, I showed Eleanor a small, old wooden box. I opened it slowly. Inside was a simple but beautiful jade hairpin. I told her it was my dead mother's only precious memory. I told Eleanor my mother died a very sad, painful death when I was a young boy. A dark tear fell from my eye. Eleanor held my hand gently. Her soft skin felt warm against my cold fingers. We shared a deep emotional connection. The lonely mother-in-law and the sad, rich son-in-law. We crossed a dangerous invisible line in our minds. But Lily did not try to stop us at all. In fact, Lily encouraged our quiet evenings together. She intentionally left the house more often. She told Eleanor to make me dinner. She told me to take Eleanor to expensive art museums. Lily was not a generous, kind wife. She had a dirty, hidden secret. Lily was having a passionate affair with her young, handsome personal trainer. She needed free time to meet her lover safely. She wanted me to be busy with her mother. If I was distracted, I would not discover her dirty affair. Lily thought her plan was absolutely brilliant and perfectly safe. She believed I was a blind, stupid husband. She thought Eleanor was just a lonely old maid. We were all playing a dangerous game of shadows and terrible lies. I knew about Lily's secret lover from the very first day. I paid a private detective to take clear, bright photos of them in cheap hotels. I kept the dirty photos in a hidden safe. But I did not say a single word. I smiled at my wife every morning. I drank tea with my mother-in-law every night. I waited for the perfect storm to arrive. Part 3. The Broken Boundary. Summer arrived with heavy, warm rain. Lily packed a large, expensive suitcase. She told me she was going on a long business trip to Paris. I knew she was going to a romantic island with her trainer. I kissed her cheek and wished her a safe flight. The massive house was now completely empty. It was just me and Eleanor. The quiet air felt thick and incredibly tense. That night, a terrible thunderstorm hit the city. The bright lightning flashed in the dark sky. Eleanor was afraid of the loud thunder. She knocked on my bedroom door with shaking hands. She wore a thin, soft silk nightgown. Her long dark hair was wet from the rain. She looked fragile, scared, and incredibly beautiful. I opened the door and invited her inside my warm room. We sat on the edge of my large bed. I poured her a glass of strong red wine. Her hands were shaking. I held her hands to calm her down. The warm wine and the loud storm changed everything. All the hidden feelings and quiet tension finally exploded. Eleanor looked into my eyes. She leaned forward and kissed my lips. I did not push my mother-in-law away. I kissed her back with deep passion. We broke the ultimate family boundary that dark, rainy night. We started a secret, forbidden physical relationship. Eleanor felt extremely guilty, but she could not stop. She was addicted to my gentle touch. A few days later, Eleanor was cleaning the large living room. She reached behind a tall bookshelf to dust the wood. Her hand touched something small and hard. It was a tiny black camera. She panicked completely. She brought the small camera to me with wide, terrified eyes. She asked me if Lily placed it there to spy on us. She was shaking with pure, raw fear. I smiled gently and held her cold shoulders. I told her not to worry at all. I explained it was just an old security camera to catch bad thieves. I promised her she was perfectly safe. Eleanor believed my sweet, comforting lies. She breathed a heavy sigh of relief and kissed my cheek. She thought our dirty secret was completely hidden in the dark shadows. She did not know the terrible truth. I installed that hidden camera myself. It recorded every single moment of our forbidden passion perfectly. I was collecting the ultimate deadly weapon. Part 4. Chasing the Shadows. Lily returned from her trip a week later. She looked happy and incredibly relaxed. She walked into the large living room with her expensive bags. Eleanor and I sat on the sofa, drinking hot tea quietly. I intentionally left my personal laptop open on the coffee table. I went to the kitchen to get more water. Lily walked past the table and saw a strange video playing on the bright screen. She stopped and stared at the computer. It was the clear, bright video from the hidden camera. It showed her own husband and her own mother sharing a passionate, forbidden kiss. Eleanor froze in pure terror. She dropped her delicate teacup on the hard floor. It shattered into tiny pieces. She waited for her daughter to scream, cry, and destroy the beautiful room in angry jealousy. But Lily did not scream or cry at all. She looked at the dirty video and smiled a slow, cold smile. She closed the laptop gently and looked at her terrified mother. Lily walked to her expensive bag and pulled out a thick brown folder. She threw it onto the glass table. She told her mother she was not angry about the dirty affair. She only cared about money. Lily knew Eleanor was hiding a massive secret inheritance. Eleanor's late family left a huge fortune that she never shared. Lily wanted every single dollar of that hidden family money. She looked at her mother with cruel, greedy eyes. She blackmailed her own flesh and blood. Lily promised to upload the dirty video to the public internet if Eleanor refused to give her the money. She said the public shame would destroy Eleanor's elegant life forever. Eleanor's rich friends would laugh at her. The dangerous loan sharks would find her easily. Eleanor started to cry loud, ugly tears. I walked back into the living room and acted completely shocked. I pretended I did not know how Lily found the secret video. I stood next to Eleanor and held her shaking hand. Lily laughed a loud, cold laugh. She gave her mother exactly 3 days to sign the official transfer documents. She turned around and walked up the stairs like a victorious queen. Eleanor fell into my arms, weeping desperately. She asked me what she should do. I touched her hair gently and smiled my invisible, dark smile. The greedy fish was finally biting the sharp hook. Part 5. The Poison Trap. Eleanor was completely trapped in pure panic. She paced around the dark room, biting her nails. She did not want to lose her massive hidden inheritance. But she was totally terrified of the public shame and ruin. I played the perfect, loyal lover. I held her face gently and told her I loved her. I promised I would divorce Lily very soon. I told Eleanor we would run away together and start a beautiful new life. I advised her to sign the papers and give Lily the money. I said our love was much more important than cold cash. I promised to protect her forever. Eleanor looked at me with deep trust and agreed. The next day, Lily brought the official transfer documents. I told them I would act as the private lawyer for the family to save money. I read the thick papers carefully with my professional glasses. I smiled at Lily and said the documents were perfect. Eleanor signed her name with a shaking hand. Lily snatched the papers quickly with greedy, bright eyes. She finally owned the massive maternal fortune. But neither of the two women actually read the complex legal words. I drafted those transfer documents myself late at night. I used extremely complicated legal terms and hidden, dangerous clauses. The massive inheritance was tied to foreign accounts and old, unpaid taxes. By signing the papers, Lily did not just accept the money. She accepted full legal responsibility for years of massive tax evasion. I secretly structured the money to look like illegal money laundering. If any government official investigated the accounts, the owner would go directly to a cold, dark prison. Lily celebrated her huge victory. She bought expensive champagne and new diamond jewelry. She started packing Eleanor's bags, ready to kick her mother out onto the dirty street. Eleanor cried quietly in her small room. She waited for me to keep my romantic promise. She thought I was preparing the divorce papers. She believed I was her sweet, handsome savior. I just watched them from the quiet shadows. I drank dark coffee and checked my silver watch. The invisible clock was ticking very fast. The heavy bomb was finally ready to explode. Part 6. The Sudden Collapse. It was a bright, sunny Tuesday morning. Lily stood in the large hallway, pointing at the heavy wooden door. She told Eleanor to take her cheap bags and leave the beautiful house forever. Eleanor cried and looked at me for help. Before I could say a single word, loud sirens wailed outside. 4 police cars stopped quickly in front of our massive gate. Strict officers walked to our door. They showed a bright silver badge and a strict search warrant. They asked for Lily. They arrested my beautiful, greedy wife immediately. They put cold, heavy metal handcuffs on her delicate wrists. Lily screamed and fought the strong officers. She demanded to know why she was being arrested. The lead officer told her she was charged with massive tax evasion and severe illegal money laundering. He said they received an anonymous tip with perfect, clear financial evidence. The evidence pointed directly to the massive inheritance Lily just transferred into her own personal name. Lily's face turned completely pale. She looked at the transfer documents on the table. She finally realized the massive fortune was a deadly, toxic trap. She was caught perfectly in the complex legal web. Eleanor watched in pure shock as the police dragged her cruel daughter away. She did not understand what was happening. She turned to me, confused and terrified. She asked me to call the best expensive lawyers. I did not move. I just smiled a calm, cold smile. I told Eleanor I would not call any lawyer. I said Lily deserved to sit in a cold, dark prison cell. Eleanor asked me who sent the anonymous tip to the police. She thought one of her old, dangerous loan sharks did it. I shook my head slowly and laughed a quiet, dark laugh. I told her I paid Lily's handsome personal trainer to send the police the evidence. I gave the young lover $50,000 to betray my wife. He took the cash and disappeared perfectly. Eleanor stared at me with wide, terrified eyes. The sweet, gentle son-in-law was gone. She finally saw the cold, sharp monster hiding behind my polite, handsome face. The real game was just beginning. Part 7. The Predator Revealed. Lily was released on heavy bail 2 days later. She returned to the house looking like a broken, messy ghost. She had to stay home until her strict, scary trial. She lost all her expensive clothes and shiny jewelry. Lily and Eleanor stood in the large living room. They started to yell loud, angry words at each other. Lily blamed her mother for the dirty, illegal money. Eleanor blamed Lily for being a greedy, cruel monster. I walked into the room slowly. I sat on the soft leather sofa and poured a hot cup of green tea. I drank the tea quietly and watched them fight like dirty, wild street dogs. They finally stopped screaming and looked at me. They demanded my help. I put my teacup down gently. I looked at Eleanor's beautiful, confused face. I asked her if she remembered a woman named Mary. Eleanor's face froze completely. Her eyes grew wide with pure, raw terror. Mary was a poor, beautiful woman from 20 years ago. Eleanor framed Mary for a terrible crime to steal the exact same maternal inheritance. Mary lost everything. She was totally ruined and deeply ashamed. Mary jumped off a tall, cold bridge and died a terrible, lonely death. She left behind a small, crying son and a green jade hairpin. I looked directly into Eleanor's terrified eyes. I told her I was that small, crying son. I told her my real name. I told her I spent 20 long, painful years planning this exact beautiful moment. I revealed my massive, perfect master plan. I built a rich company to get close to Lily. I married the cruel daughter to access the dark family. I manipulated Eleanor to move into the house. I set up the camera. I created the forbidden romance. I pushed Lily to blackmail her own mother. I drafted the toxic legal trap. I controlled every single quiet breath they took in this house. I did not want to kill them quickly. I wanted them to destroy each other completely. I wanted them to feel the exact same pure, raw despair my poor mother felt before she died. Part 8. Dogs biting dogs. The heavy silence in the living room was absolutely terrifying. Eleanor and Lily stared at me with pure, absolute horror. The dark truth shattered their minds completely. They realized they were just stupid puppets in my cruel play. Suddenly, the last drop of family love died completely. Eleanor turned toward her daughter with pure, toxic hatred. She blamed Lily for bringing the dangerous devil into their safe home. She screamed loud, ugly words. Lily screamed back with equal violent fury. She grabbed a heavy glass vase and threw it at her mother. The glass shattered against the wall. They lunged at each other, scratching and hitting like wild, angry animals. I sat on the sofa and watched the violent show. I did not try to stop them at all. This was my beautiful masterpiece. The greedy mother and the cruel daughter were finally tearing each other apart. Eleanor pushed Lily away, breathing heavily. She looked at me with desperate, crazy eyes. She tried to blackmail me. She said she knew a dark secret about my past company. She promised to ruin me. I laughed a loud, cold laugh. I pointed at Lily. I told Eleanor her own daughter had already sold her out. Lily gave me all of Eleanor's secret financial records yesterday, hoping I would pay her expensive lawyers. Lily betrayed her mother for a tiny chance of mercy. But I did not give Lily a single dollar. I took the valuable evidence and left her completely alone. Eleanor looked at her daughter with absolute, pure disgust. They had absolutely nothing left. No money, no power, no family, and no hope. The police had all their accounts frozen. The dark, dangerous loan sharks were still hunting Eleanor. Lily was facing 10 years in prison. They were completely trapped in a massive, burning hell. They destroyed their own lives with their own pure greed. I stood up slowly and adjusted my expensive, clean suit. My work here was finally done. Part 9. The final sentence. A few months passed quickly. The strict court finalized my fast divorce from Lily. I walked away with all my clean money and the massive luxury house. I was perfectly, totally free. Lily went to her final trial. The judge was very strict and cold. He sentenced her to 8 long years in a dark, cold federal prison. She cried loud, ugly tears in the bright courtroom, but nobody cared at all. Eleanor was completely ruined. Her rich friends ignored her phone calls. The dangerous loan sharks found her and broke her delicate fingers. She lived in a small, dirty room in the dark, poor side of the city. One rainy evening, Eleanor came to my large gate. She looked incredibly old, dirty, and totally broken. She fell to her weak knees in the cold mud. She cried and begged me for a little mercy. She looked up with sad, desperate eyes. She asked if our quiet evenings and passionate nights meant anything to me. She truly believed I felt a tiny spark of real love for her. I looked down at her pathetic, shaking body. I did not feel a single drop of pity. I spoke with a very quiet, slow, and completely cold voice. I destroyed her last small piece of hope. I told her that every time I touched her skin, I felt pure, absolute disgust. I told her I had to scrub my body with strong alcohol every single night to wash away the terrible, dirty feeling. I told her she was nothing but a dirty, useful tool. I turned my back and walked inside my warm, beautiful house. I left her crying loudly in the freezing rain. She was finally, truly dead inside. Part 10. The Jade Hairpin. I packed a small, neat leather bag. I decided to sell the massive house and travel the world. I had my sweet, beautiful revenge. My mother's sad, quiet ghost could finally rest in peace. Before I left, I walked into the large master bedroom one last time. This was the exact room where Eleanor and I shared our dirty, fake romance. The room felt cold and completely empty. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the green jade hairpin. I placed the beautiful, sharp stone gently on the clean white bed. I also placed a folded, old yellow paper right next to it. The yellow paper was an old, secret DNA test. The jade hairpin was not just a sweet memory. It was the exact sharp weapon Eleanor used to threaten my mother 20 years ago. But the DNA test held a much darker, terrifying truth. Eleanor's late husband, Lily's rich father, was a cruel, terrible man. He violently assaulted my poor mother before Eleanor destroyed her completely. The DNA test proved the ultimate, sickening secret. I was not just the angry son of a ruined woman. I was the biological son of Eleanor's late husband. Lily and I were actual half-brother and half-sister. I paid a guard to let Eleanor enter the empty house later that day. She walked into the bedroom and saw the hairpin. She read the old yellow paper with shaking hands. The massive, sickening truth finally hit her brain. She realized she slept with her dead husband's son. She realized she helped a brother destroy his own sister. The absolute, pure horror shattered her mind completely. I drove my fast car toward the bright, beautiful airport. I did not look back. I knew Eleanor was screaming in the empty house, completely, totally insane. The green jade hairpin finally finished its dark, bloody job.